Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Nabila Rona, and on this occasion, I will be delivering my critical review on two designated academic journals that extensively discuss the concept of order. I will be taking a deeper look into how order is conceptualized within Anne Mary Slaughter's The Real New World Order and G. John Ikenberry's Liberal Internationalism 3.0. Hope you enjoy this presentation. Thank you. Before delving deeper into the author's analysis on the concept of order, it is worth noting that international relations as an academic discipline is dynamic and multifaceted, which in turn makes it one of the most tumultuous and heavily contested scholarships there is. Such a state of affairs can be located in most of the discussion that persists within the discipline, which also includes matters such as theories and concepts. In regards to the definition of order itself, only one out of two authors has explicitly provided the meaning behind such a concept. It is known that the expression of order, or rather international order, according to Ikenberry, alludes to the agreed upon agreements between states that determine the conditions of their interaction. This then begs the question, an important one at that, of just how many forms of order persist within IR. Since I have only reviewed two reading materials, then this presentation shall too elaborate on two forms of order, namely that of transgovernmentalism put forward by Slaughter in her 1997 work, and the other one, liberal internationalism, proposed by Ikenberry in 2009. Let us commence from Slaughter's transgovernmentalism firstly. I will be expounding on some of its conjectures. Firstly, it is evident from the beginning that Slaughter's analyses are primarily centered upon the assumption that the world order largely revolves around states' activities. What is more, Slaughter further emphasized the prominence and relevance of states within the world order by taking a measured jab or criticism at those who championed for a liberal internationalist order, essentially international laws and institutions replacing the role occupied by the traditional state, and those who advocated for the opposite, referred to by Slaughter as the new medievalism, or the proclamation towards the end of the nation state. Slaughter criticized how these two perspectives failed immeasurably in implementing their visions. In its place, Slaughter proposed that states are still present and will continue to be present within the world order, but it has now donned a different look. Moreover, Slaughter argued it has now become disaggregated into separate, functionally distinct parts. On top of that, Slaughter had also put forward several examples of the said distinct parts, notably courts, regulatory agencies, executives, and even legislatures, to name only a few. Under transgovernmentalism, it can be seen that these distinct parts would then form a dense web of relations and networking with other foreign agencies of the same standing. Considerably, global issues such as terrorism, organized crime, environmental pollution, money laundering, bank failure, and stock frauds are some of the global issues that have developed and continue to maintain these relationships going forward. Moving on to consider a different interpretation of order, in this part of the presentation, I will be elucidating Ikenberry's liberal internationalism order and its subsequent tenets. From the beginning, Ikenberry had made it clear that the liberal international order is wide-ranging and vast. Even so, Ikenberry had managed to incorporate into his analysis some of the fundamental presumptions of the liberal international order, which includes notions of how such a world order would want to see a transparent, rule-based mechanism in which states exchange and collaborate for mutual benefit. Likewise, it believes that peoples and government have vested interest in creating a cooperative international order based on the values of restraint, reciprocity, and sovereign equality. However, be that as it may, it shall be noted that due to its wide-ranging nature, the implementation of this order also varies in nature. However, Ikenberry did manage to locate 5 main dimensions of variations, notably 1. Participatory scope, 2. Sovereign independence, 3. Sovereign equality, 4. The rule of law, and lastly, 5. Policy breadth and depth. This picture is a visual representation and guide of the 5 dimensions of variations postulated by Ikenberry early on. Having seen how order is conceptualized and interpreted by the authors above, I will now be delivering my review on Slaughter's analysis of transgovernmentalism. It may be argued that the convictions held by Slaughter can be traced back to the positivist tendencies principally espoused by realism, such as that of how states are considered the chief actors within the international political stage. Likewise, another realist tendencies worth noting here is how, according to Viotti and Caupi, the state is perceived as an integrated unit. As such, any shape and form of political disputes within the state are then addressed effectively and authoritatively so that the government of the state communicates in one voice for the entirety of the state. In regards to transgovernmentalism, Slaughter argued that this world order is a critical component in establishing a bipartisan U.S. foreign policy directive, which saw the de-escalation of conservative concerns of losing authority to multinational institutions and the liberal fears of losing regulatory control in a globalized economy. In spite of this, it must be noted that the primary conjecture of transgovernmentalism being a condition of the disaggregation of the state into separate parts ran opposite of what classical realism typically proposed. That is how the state is commonly viewed as a single, unitary, and integrated unit. With that out of the way, I will now continue my critical review of Ikenberry's liberal international order. Similar in conditions with that of Slaughter, Ikenberry's analyses are based on the positivist presumption of liberalism, whereby it presents a pluralist vision of the world that includes not only governments and their institutions, but also a diverse range of non-state entities such as international and non-governmental organizations, individuals, and communities alike. In addition, liberals are also primarily interested in explaining the factors that allow for international interaction or a partnership. To To conclude my review, we have seen how the conception of order, at the very least from Ikenberry's perspective, can be understood as the agreed upon agreements between states that determine the conditions of their interactions. Moreover, by taking a closer look into how order is interpreted within two distinct academic journals, we can see how it is ultimately shaped, namely transgovernmentalism and liberal internationalism. Consequently, it can be seen that the interpretations of order by these two authors are the extensions of existing and orthodox ideas within the IR theoretical continuum, thus cementing the two as to how positivists would conceive the concept of order. That is all for me, and these are my references. Thank you for your time and attention. I am looking forward for any questions or comments. Thank you.